So you're thinking about buying some bare land and building a home. Let's dig into what that looks like. Construction loans are a very complex product and can be really intense when you're trying to figure out exactly how it works. So I'm here to help. I have been with 3 different lenders and I'm very familiar with how the construction program works. Construction lending is very similar from lender to lender, but they each have their different little nuances on how they do things. So I'm going to break it down in a very general sense of how it works. Your first step is to determine your budget. You want to find out exactly what you're going to need to be able to obtain this stream. There are 2 types of construction loans. There are purchase construction loans and refinance construction loans. What that means is a purchase construction loan is if you're going to purchase the land and build, all done in one transaction. A refinance construction loans means that you have bought the land, now you're building. So you're already entitled on the land. We can do either one of those. They're just a little bit different and there's a few little nuances. So if you're going to be buying the land and planning construction at the same time, you want to look at a couple pieces. So when you're looking to buy land and do the construction at the same time, you want to make sure that you have a seller that's on board to work with you. That is the key piece because there is a lot of work to be done and the seller needs to be a little bit flexible. If you decide that you want to go out and buy the land and figure out building later, you can absolutely do that with a land loan. So there's a couple different ways to navigate it. We see construction refinances much more often than a construction purchase. So now you have figured out your budget, you know kind of where the numbers fall. Now what you want to do is find your builder. There are a lot of different ways that you can find a builder. What you really want to do is connect with your local builders and contractors association, and they can determine and help you find some great builders with a good reputation that are also going to fit within your budget. Once you connect with a builder, then you're going to start drafting up the things of the actual construction build. So you're going to be looking at plans, specs, all of the good things. So all the way down to the hardwood floors that you're putting in your home and the bathroom, all that good stuff. They need to know exactly what you're going to be putting in the home. You've got your construction idea. We've got land. So now what's going to happen is we're going to take the land and either you own it or contract, and then we've got our construction project. So we are going to provide that information to an appraiser. The appraiser is going to go out to the land and say, okay, once this project is done, this is the value that we are going to have. And that is the value that helps us determine how much we can lend on the property. So if you own the land already, that is where your equity is going to come into play. Until that appraisal is done, we don't know that exact number, but we can get a pretty good idea. When you're out looking for land, you do want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into with land. There are some times that you're going to find land, especially in northern Idaho, that needs a well, it needs septic, it might need power brought in. Those are some really expensive pieces of construction that a lot of people don't take into account. And it's not always that easy to drill a well. You would think with us sitting over the top of an aquifer that it would be very easy and there's water everywhere, but that is not the case. It's going to vary from different places, and so you want to reach out to the experts beforehand and really do that research before you dig in. Now you've got your construction, you've got your land, you know what the project is going to cost. Everything is almost done. At this point, your builder is going to pull the permits so that we know that the county is going to approve the build and let you do it. And then we go to closing. So at closing, 2 things happen. 1, construction can commence. Before closing, there cannot be any construction done on the property. So at closing, that is when you get the go ahead. And this is when the check is paid out to the seller of the land if you're buying the land. So they are out of the picture, construction can start, and we are ready to roll. So moving us into the second part of the construction loan. After all the finances are done, now you can finally build. what is going to happen is that your builder, and this is either stick-built, manufactured, barn dominium, whatever you decide to build, can start actually building. Typically, what they're going to do is they're going to do some of the work, and they'll usually do it in month increments. So they're going to do some of the work. At the end of the month, they're going to request a draw. And what they're going to say is, we have done, let's say, foundation, excavation, framing. We want the funds for that. So they have to front those costs, and then they're reimbursed by the loan. So they come to the construction department, ask for the draw, an inspector goes out to determine that they have completed those items, and then we give the funds to the builder so that they can continue on the project. So that's usually what you're going to see for the next 10, 11, 12 months. So when the draws are done, that is how your payment is determined. So you pay interest-only payments based on what's been drawn from the loan. If you bring cash to closing, those are going to be the funds that are going to be utilized first. So each month, your payment is going to be interest-only based on what has been drawn from the loan. At the end of construction, you are going to get your certificate of occupancy. Everything is going to be done. We are going to determine what actual amount you used from that budget. Did you use the full amount? Did you end up saving some money? Did you end up, whatever it ends up being, that is the mortgage that's going to term out over the next 15, 30 years. So at the end of construction, we're going to verify you're still employed, make sure everything looks the same, that you haven't made any major changes, and then your loan is going to turn over and change into a complete mortgage with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So that is how a construction loan works. Now, there's a couple different kinds of construction loans, and it really depends on your scenario. So you'll hear this term a lot, one-time or two-time closed construction loans. So now that you understand how the process works, this may make the most sense. A one-time closed construction loan means that you close at the title company, do construction. Once construction's done, it flips to a regular loan. There's a two-time closed construction loan, and in some cases, this makes the most sense. So you close on the loan, you do your construction. At the end of that, you refinance into the product that you want. So a lot of times you'll see jumbo loans are two-time closed construction loans. You can do VA two-time closed construction loans. You can do VA one-time closed construction loans. It just really depends on your specific scenario. Interest rates during construction. These are what are going to vary the most between different lenders, and everybody does them a little bit different. With Evergreen, the most important part to me was that you were offered a little bit of freedom. So when we go and we close on your construction loan, you will have chosen an interest rate for your final loan. Now, the coolest part about it is that once construction is done, if interest rates have gotten better, you are going to float down to current market rates. Now, in the scenario where interest rates get worse while you're building, you will stay locked in at that interest rate. So that is your worst case interest rate, but you have the float down option, which I love the most about the product. Now, the most important piece that a lot of people forget about construction loans is your contractor. So I've had experience with a lot of different contractors in the area, and I've heard a lot of different experience with different lenders. Outside of cost, you do not want to choose the cheapest lender, and here is why. The cheapest lender is going to put your contractor through the worst experience they've ever had, and we do not want that. Contractors are the absolute soul of your construction project. And so you want to make sure that you're happy, but that they are also happy. So you need to make sure you choose a lender that you feel confident in their construction program. You're a loan officer, that they know exactly what they're doing and exactly what they're looking for, and that there is a really awesome construction team running right behind them to do the draws, make sure everything is efficient, and that your contractor gets paid so the project can get done. So when you're shopping for construction loans, you really want to focus on that. And if you feel any red flags about the process at all, you want to start investigating on how much experience the company has with construction loans. One of the reasons why I chose Evergreen was because we have an awesome construction program, and our construction director is actively involved in every single project that we have. So that is how construction loans work. There's a lot of variables with them, and every single scenario is different. So please make sure you reach out anytime you've got questions. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to walk through it. It is not a short process. It's very long term. The costs up front are heavier than buying an existing home, but the payoff can be so great. So if you are interested in doing a construction loan, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help and make your dream a reality.